Hey everyone, and welcome back.
We're diving deep today into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh
That's
yeah?
by Robert Kiyosaki
Uh-huh.
and Sharon Lechter.
This book's been a bestseller for years,
Right.
and we're going to figure out why people are still talking about it.
Get ready for some ideas that'll make you think differently about money,
Yeah.
like
Ugh.
the rat race.
Assets and liabilities.
And then making your money work for you instead of the other way around.
It really challenges the traditional ideas about success,
What do you mean?
like going to school,
Okay.
getting good grades,
Yeah.
and then finding a safe and secure job.
Right. The usual path. Kiyosaki argues that this advice might be outdated
Outdated.
and even risky
Really?
in our economy today.
So my parents gave me bad advice.
Well, not necessarily bad advice,
Okay.
but maybe not the whole picture.
Hmm.
Remember, this was written in the late 90s.
Oh, right.
Times were changing fast.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter,
Who's a CPA, by the way.
right?
And I'm all...
She brings an interesting perspective.
Definitely.
Anyway, they really wanted to shake things up.
Kiyosaki talks about how his own son noticed something.
What's that?
Doctors today,
Uh-huh.
they aren't making as much money as they used to.
That's true.
It makes you wonder if those safe jobs are really that safe anymore.
It's not like our grandparents' time.
Right.
They could work at one place forever,
Yeah.
retire comfortably.
Exactly.
Things have changed.
Kiyosaki highlights this change with a story
What story?
about a dinner he had with some professionals.
Okay.
There was a banker,
Huh?
a business owner,
Okay.
and a computer programmer.
It sounds like a successful group.
You'd think so.
But they didn't really understand basic financial concepts.
Really?
It's surprising.
It is.
But it shows the book's main point.
Looks at.
Millions of people,
Okay.
even with good jobs,
Yeah.
struggle with money
Because they don't understand it.
because they lack a basic understanding.
So it's not about how much you make. It's about what you do with it.
Exactly.
That's where Rich Dad and Poor Dad come in.
That's where it gets interesting.
I have to admit, when I first heard about the book,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be cheesy.
I get that.
You know, like a typical self-help story.
But Kiyosaki uses this comparison really well
Okay.
to show different mindsets about money.
So how are they different?
His biological father,
Poor Dad.
yes, poor dad was smart and well-educated,
Okay.
but he always had money problems. His friend's dad, though.
Rich Dad.
Yeah, Rich Dad was a successful entrepreneur.
Even without a fancy education.
Right.
So it's not about your degree.
Not necessarily.
It's about how you think about money.
That's a key takeaway.
Okay. I'm following you.
Rich Dad thought financial literacy was the most important kind of education.
Interesting.
But how did their philosophies play out in real life?
Good question.
Well, one story is about Robert and his friend Mike's first business.
What did they do?
They tried to sell used toothpaste tubes.
Use toothpaste tubes?
Yep,
That's a little strange.
it is. What did their dad say?
Poor Dad
Yeah.
immediately pointed out the problems.
Like it being illegal, probably.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay, what about Rich Dad?
He saw something different.
What did he see?
He praised their creativity
Really?
and entrepreneurial spirit.
So it wasn't about the toothpaste.
No.
It was about thinking like an entrepreneur,
Exactly.
even if the idea is a little out there.
That's the point.
I see.
And that experience shaped Robert's view on money.
How so?
He learned that the poor and the middle class work for money.
Okay,
The rich have money work for them.
that's a big difference.
That's the heart of Rich Dad's philosophy.
So find ways to make your money make more money.
Exactly.
That's why financial literacy is important.
It's crucial.
Kiyosaki makes this point with another story
Oh, yeah?
about the richest businessmen of 1923.
Do you remember what happened to them?
They lost everything
Most of them did.
within a few years. It's a reminder that wealth can disappear fast
Even if you start with a lot.
if you don't know how to manage it.
Yeah, that's scary to think about.
It is a wake-up call.
For sure.
It doesn't matter how much you earn
Right.
if you don't know how to handle your money.
Anyone can end up in trouble.
Exactly.
So financial literacy is like a basic life skill.
Absolutely.
We should learn it like we learn to read and write.
I agree.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad breaks it down
It does.
in a way that's easy to understand.
Even if you've never taken a finance class,
Right.
like the difference between assets and liabilities,
This is where it gets really interesting.
he explains it so clearly.
Anyone can understand.
He even challenges some common beliefs,
Like what?
like owning a home.
Ah, yes.
Everyone says your house is an asset,
Yeah, that's what we're told.
but Kiyosaki sees it differently.
He does.
Wait, are you saying my house isn't an asset?
He argues that For most people,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a liability.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. Most people spend their lives paying off mortgage.
So they don't really own it?
Not outright.
Plus
Like
there are all those expenses.
property taxes,
Yeah,
maintenance repairs.
it all adds up.
It takes money out of your pocket.
So instead of putting everything into a house,
Yeah.
I should focus on things that make money.
Assets that generate income.
Oh, okay, I'm starting to get it.
Think of it like a fruit tree.
A fruit tree.
An asset keeps giving you fruit,
Income.
even when you're not actively working on it.
That's a good way to think about it.
So how do you build that asset orchard?
Right, where do you even start?
That's where minding your own business comes in.
Does that mean I need to quit my job and start a company?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's about creating assets
Uh-huh.
that generate income.
Even while you have a regular job.
Kiyosaki uses Ray Kroc as an example, right?
The founder of McDonald's.
Yeah.
He wasn't just selling hamburgers.
What else was he doing?
He was buying the land under each franchise.
The real...
He knew that was the real asset.
It's valuable.
And it generates passive income.
So it's about looking beyond what's obvious.
Seeing opportunities others miss.
Don't just focus on your paycheck.
Right.
Think about building assets.
That will work for you.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's about creating financial freedom.
And to do that,
You might need to understand some other tools.
the kind of tools.
Like corporations.
Corporations seem complicated.
They can be.
I don't even know where to begin.
Kiyosaki breaks it down, though.
Okay.
One advantage is tax benefits.
Tax benefits.
Corporations are often taxed less than individuals,
Yep.
and they can deduct certain expenses.
Which lowers their taxes even more.
Exactly.
So it's like a different set of rules.
It can seem that way.
Almost unfair.
Kiyosaki talks about this.
He does?
He was denied a loan once
Why?
because he made too much money
Too much money.
from his apartment buildings.
That doesn't seem right.
It shows how the wealthy have different options.
We need to learn about those options.
If we want to play the same game.
Absolutely.
But Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't all about technical stuff.
Okay.
It also talks about the mental challenges,
Like what?
like overcoming fear.
Fear is a big one for me,
It's natural.
especially when it comes to money.
Kiyosaki knows this.
He does.
He even shares his own experiences.
So what's his advice?
He says confront your fears
Face them head on.
and use them as motivation.
Okay.
He also talks about having a positive attitude,
Poetry.
risk and failure.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm good at that.
He tells a great story about a Texan
Okay.
who failed to drill for oil,
Oh,
but he turned the well into a tourist attraction.
that's clever.
It's about embracing failure.
And turning it into success.
It's the Texas attitude he talks about.
So don't be paralyzed by fear.
Use it to push yourself forward.
I like that.
What about cynicism?
I think that's a big obstacle too.
Kiyosaki tells a story about his friend, Richard.
What happened?
Richard backed out of a real estate deal.
Why?
He got scared.
Buyer's remorse.
Exactly.
That can be costly.
It can stop you from taking opportunities.
Ugh. I've been there.
You have.
I had a chance to invest in a startup once,
Oh, I
but I
see.
let my doubts win.
What happened?
I thought it wouldn't work out.
Now that company is doing great.
And you're kicking yourself. It's easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
Kiyosaki says, fight that cynicism. Learn more.
Okay.
Get experience.
Making informed decisions.
Not emotional ones.
Right.
Cynicism can become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
If you think you'll fail,
Yeah.
you probably will.
And then there's laziness,
We all struggle with that.
especially with things that seem hard.
Like learning about finance.
Kiyosaki uses a gym analogy.
Okay,
The hardest part is getting started.
that's true.
Once you're at the gym,
Uh-huh.
it gets easier.
I get that.
It's the same with financial intelligence.
Just start.
The first step is the hardest,
But then you gain momentum.
and it becomes more enjoyable.
So just take that first step.
Even a small one.
Just good to me.
Now that we've covered the basics,
Yeah.
let's talk about Kiyosaki's 10 steps.
To financial freedom.
We'll dive into those in part 2.
Can't wait.
See you then.
Welcome back, everyone.
I'm excited to dig into Kiyosaki's 10 steps to financial freedom.
From Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Where do we even start with something as big as financial freedom?
Wow.
Kiyosaki emphasizes one thing over and over.
What's that?
Financial intelligence is learned.
Not something you're born with.
Right, anyone can develop these skills.
No matter where they're starting.
Exactly.
And he believes the foundation for building wealth
And reaching that freedom,
starts with a simple principle.
which is,
Paying yourself first.
I remember this from part 1.
It's interesting how he keeps coming back to it.
It takes on a different meaning here, though.
What do you mean?
It's about taking control of your money
Okay.
before it goes to bills and expenses.
Like he says about letting creditors wait.
Exactly.
It's a shift in how you think about money.
It puts your financial well-being first.
If you wait till the end of the month to save,
There's often nothing left.
right,
But if you pay yourself first,
even a little bit
you're building a habit.
of putting your financial future first,
Exactly.
and as you get better at managing your money,
Uh-huh.
you could save more.
It's like building a muscle.
I like that.
You start small and gradually increase.
Now, before we jump into investing,
Okay.
Kiyosaki says something important.
What's that?
Get guidance from people who are already good with money.
Oh, yeah. Step 2.
Finding good advisors.
Don't rely on those salespeople.
Pretending to be financial planners.
Find people who actually want you to succeed.
Not just earn a commission.
Right. Find people who are doing what you want to do,
Walking the walk.
not just talking the talk.
And be fair to those advisors.
How do you mean?
Don't just focus on their fees.
Okay.
You get what you pay for.
It's about building a team you can trust
People who can guide you.
and help you avoid mistakes.
But once you have that guidance,
And you start to see success.
it's tempting to just stop there.
Stick with what you know.
But Kiyosaki says keep learning,
Step 3.
master a formula, and then learn a new one.
So don't get complacent,
Right.
even when something is working,
He talks about taking classes,
on all sorts of investments.
even things he wasn't familiar with,
Like what?
like derivative and commodity options trading.
That's pretty advanced.
Shows he never stopped learning.
So always be learning,
Complacency is the enemy of wealth.
because things are always changing.
The financial world is constantly evolving
We need to adapt.
and find new strategies.
So no magic formula.
It's about continuous learning.
Got it.
But learning can be hard.
There are obstacles.
Mental and emotional roadblocks.
Step 4, overcoming obstacles.
This is where the book gets real.
About the challenges we all face.
With money,
Fear,
cynicism,
and laziness,
bad habits.
even arrogance.
He gives strategies for each one.
For example,
Analyze your fears. See how they can motivate you.
turn fear into fuel.
Replace cynicism with knowledge and experience.
Overcome laziness by building good habits.
What about arrogance?
He says truly intelligent people are always learning.
They know they don't know
Everything
everything.
they ask for advice.
So stay humble.
We're all on a learning journey,
There's always more to learn.
especially about finance.
Okay, back to step 5.
Pay yourself first.
Didn't we already talk about that?
We did.
But this time it's more specific.
What do you mean?
It's about paying yourself in a way that minimizes taxes.
So using the system to your advantage,
That's right.
instead of giving the government a ton of your money.
He explains how corporations can help.
How simple.
They can often deduct certain expenses.
And that lowers their taxes.
Exactly.
He shares how he does this himself.
With his rental properties
He uses a corporation in Nevada.
because of their tax laws.
Right.
So it's not just about earning money
It's about understanding the rules.
and using them to your benefit.
Now you don't have to figure this out alone.
That's where step 6 comes in.
Finding specialists.
Those good advisors,
Build your team of experts,
lawyers,
accountants,
real estate agents.
people who can help you build and protect your wealth.
Kiyosaki says, find advisors who are smarter than you.
And pay them fairly.
So leverage the knowledge of others.
You don't have to be an expert in
I'm-
everything.
Surround yourself with experts
And once you have a good team,
and some passive income.
you can look for investments that offer more.
More than just a return on your investment.
Step 7, something for nothing.
Or as Kiyosaki puts it,
The assets you get for free.
once you get your money back,
He gives the example of buying a foreclosed property,
okay,
fixing it up,
renting it out.
and then refinancing it
So you get your initial investment back
through refinancing.
and you still get the rental income.
It's like owning the property for free.
He does something similar with stocks.
Buy low,
Sell high.
keep some shares for free.
It's like finding hidden treasures.
Be a savvy investor.
Look beyond the obvious.
Step 8 is interesting.
The need for heroes.
What do heroes have to do with money?
That's what I thought.
Kiyosaki believes heroes can inspire us.
They make things seem possible.
Find heroes in finance and investing.
People who have achieved what you want.
He talks about how he idolized baseball players.
You wanted to be like them.
He applies that to investing.
By studying successful people.
Like Warren Buffett
He even talks about Donald Trump.
as a business hero.
Even though Trump has been criticized.
He's focusing on Trump's deal-making abilities,
and his brand building.
not necessarily endorsing everything he's done.
So find inspiration from others.
Learn from those who have walked the path.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Adapt their strategies to your situation.
And the best way to learn
Is to teach.
Step 9.
Teach, and you shall receive.
The best way to learn is to teach.
Exactly.
Kiyosaki says teaching others helps you understand better.
And it can open doors.
To new opportunities and connections. Sharing your knowledge is a win-win.
And finally,
Step 10.
give and you shall receive.
This seems like it's not about money.
It's about giving in a broader sense.
Time.
Knowledge. Kiyosaki says generosity creates a positive effect.
It comes back to you in unexpected ways.
Relationships.
Foster goodwill.
Create a support network.
Financial success isn't just about money.
It's about making a positive impact.
We've covered all 10 steps.
That was a lot.
We just scratched the surface,
There's always more to learn.
but we've covered the key concepts.
And some strategies.
Now, before we go to part 3,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
If you could spend an hour with Rich Dad or Poor Dad,
Who would you choose?
that's a tough one.
I appreciate Poor Dad's stability.
But I'd probably choose Rich Dad.
Me too.
He'd push you to think differently.
Take risks.
He wouldn't be easy on you.
But his insights would be valuable.
I agree.
I can picture it.
Sitting with him,
Learning from him.
maybe even pitching him a business idea.
He might laugh.
You never know.
That's the spirit.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just about getting rich.
It's about a mindset.
Continuous learning,
Challenging the status quo.
creating your own success.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
We hope this has made you think about financial literacy.
And giving you new ideas about building your financial future.
Remember, financial intelligence is a journey.
Not a destination.
Take small steps.
Learn from your experiences.
Never give up on your dreams.
So what's one small step you can take today?
To start minding your own business.
What will move you closer to your goals?
Think about that as we wrap up this part.
See you in part 3.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
It's been quite a journey,
Yes.
exploring Kiyosaki's ideas.
About money and success.
We haven't even talked about Sharon Lechter yet.
The co-author.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's easy to focus on Robert Kiyosaki,
He's the louder one.
but Sharon Lechter is important too.
Her voice is essential to the book.
In the introduction,
She talks directly to the reader.
she acknowledges that these ideas might be challenging.
They might go against what you've always been told.
About education and success.
It can be hard to hear that your parents' advice might not be the only way.
She even says, as a CPA,
She's seen it firsthand.
that good grades and a secure job aren't enough anymore.
That's a powerful statement.
Coming from someone like her,
She's challenging the system.
we need to go beyond just teaching kids about balancing a checkbook.
Teach them to think critically about money.
Build real financial intelligence.
She brings a motherly perspective, too.
She wants us to prepare our children for the future.
For a world that's changing fast,
It's not about giving them a ready-made financial plan,
it's about teaching them how to think,
how to solve problems,
make smart decisions.
and adapt to whatever comes their way,
She also says financial prosperity is possible for everyone.
no matter where you start,
It's a message of hope.
and empowerment,
We can change our financial futures.
if we're willing to learn and grow.
Now, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Okay.
If you could spend an hour with Rich Dad or Poor Dad,
Who would you choose?
that's a good one.
I respect Poor Dad.
But I'd probably choose Rich Dad.
Yeah,
He'd push me to think differently.
Take risks,
He wouldn't sugarcoat things.
but his insights would be so valuable.
I can imagine it now.
Sitting with him,
Learning from him.
maybe even pitching him a business idea.
He might laugh.
You never know.
That's the right attitude.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about more than just getting rich.
It's about a mindset.
Continuous learning,
Challenging the status quo.
creating your own success.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity
About financial literacy
and given you new ideas.
for building a brighter financial future.
Remember, financial intelligence is a journey.
Not a destination.
Take small steps.
Learn from your experiences.
Never give up on your dreams.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.